I'm back with another video. Why? This chair is like the creakiest chair in the land. Also, I am wearing a top underneath, but it's actually quite low, so you can't see it. But I just thought I'd let you know that when it's like this, I am wearing a top, but you can't see the top. So, just so you know, I'm not like sat here not dressed. I'm actually like fully dressed. Usually I wear like a top, like some joggers, but I've actually been outside the house today, so I've got jeans on. Mental. On Instagram, I decided to do a little poll because there's two videos that I really wanted to do, but I was like, which one would everyone like to see first, or just generally what would you like to see? And my dating tips slash fails won massively. However, I do appreciate all of you people that voted for the styling video, because that is coming. I've wanted to do some sort of styling video for quite a while because I feel like I'm starting to understand what my own style is, and I'm starting to kind of enjoy wearing clothes more. Like, I get excited to kind of put an outfit together, whereas I've never been like that before. So I just thought it'd be quite a fun video for me to do, maybe a bit selfishly for me to do, but you guys hopefully will enjoy it. I get comments sometimes saying that my outfits look all right, so maybe I should share them, so that's what I'm going to do. The lighting in this video might be a bit rubbish occasionally. At the moment I feel like it's actually all right, but I might have to put on my ring light at some point depending on how much crap I chat. So today we're going to do a bit of a dating tip slash fails. Now, the tips are coming from the fact that I've had many fails in dating. I'm not a massive dater, I haven't been on loads and loads of dates, so I'm not an expert by any means, but I thought it would be a funny video for people, so it'd be entertaining. There's something going over the house right now. It's like I think it's a plane. The first tip of the day is to know if it is a date or if it is not a date. As I have been on dates and I've not realised they were dates, but then I've also gone to go and see someone thinking, oh, this is a date. It's not. Got there and realised it's fully not a date. Very not date, full on friend vibes. So I think you can either ask, or just kind of, I don't know, little signs, like if they're more flirty with you as well. And I can definitely say the boy that I most recently went on a non-date with was definitely not really that flirty with me before we went and met up together. So I thought I'd just give you a bit of a story time on when Phoebe thought she was going on a date recently and it was in fact not a date. So I'm not going to mention any names in this because I'm the person that's embarrassed by this story, no one else. I'm also not throwing shade at anyone in this little story because, again, I was the embarrassment, no one else. I knew this person for a long time, but then we'd kind of cross paths again because we have similar friendship groups. So I met him at a thing and I was like, ah, you, haven't seen you in so long. And he was like, ah, you, haven't seen you in so long. And we decided to go and watch these little plays together. So there was 3 plays in all. It was like a little mini like play taster night, let's say. I can't remember what the actual name of it was, I'm sorry. So we went to go and do that because our whole like big friendship group was doing it together, but we couldn't do, I think he couldn't do the same day, and I was like, oh, it'd be kind of nice to see him on his own. So I kind of initiated it more so, which I don't think is wrong, by the way. I think girls and boys can initiate dates. So I kind of initiated it and we were like, cool, we'll meet up, and I fully was like, cool, this is a date. I dressed up quite nicely. I was wearing like jeans and boots and a body and a blazer, and I was like, I look cool, and I had a scarf because it's cold. And yeah, so I was quite excited, and I got there a little bit later because my bus was just stuck in traffic. So I got there a bit later than him, and he'd already got me a like gin and lemonade, which I was like, cool. He remembered that I don't like tonic. I was like, point to him. And then I knew that a girl that he'd dated previously was in the play, the first one. So I knew that we'd be seeing her, and I'd met her a couple of times anyway, so I was like, cool, she's nice, that's fine. And then it kind of proceeded after the first one, which she was in. She then came and like chatted with us for a bit and also said hello to some other people that had come to see her, and then kind of sat with us throughout the rest of the evening. So I was like, I'm currently sat, like I was next to her, and then he was on the other side of her, and because we got in first, me and her, so we sat down, and so he could have chosen where to sit, and the fact that he didn't sit next to me kind of gave me a little thing, being like, Phoebes, I don't think you're on a date right now. I think you're fully in the friend zone, which is a zone that I'm very familiar with. very, very familiar with. So I was kind of there and I was like, okay, so I'm sat here with me, a boy that I would like to be on a date with right now, but definitely am not on a date with, and a girl that has previously been on dates with this boy. How do I get myself into these little situations? I don't know, but it's a fun anecdote for today, isn't it? I would say don't be afraid to ask if it's a date. Try and find out, or try and figure out if it's a date or not. I think the fact that he wasn't that flirty with me, A, when we saw each other, and B, on message, should have been a bit of an inkling. I also spoke to my friend about this recently. Hi Adam, if you're watching. We spoke about how many kisses you put on the ends of messages. So 1, I think, is very like chilled, friends. 2 is like a little bit more, and 3, I think, is like interested, and we solidly were on like a 1 or a 2. So I do think that kind of can sometimes give an inkling. Some boys don't even send kisses, so it kind of depends. So it's a very loose thing to base it on, but if you can find out if you're on a date or not, I would thoroughly say try, because otherwise you just feel a bit like a lemon. Very well dressed lemon. My second tip is to also know your worth with dating. I have definitely been on dates with people that just weren't that bothered about me, and I think when you're first dating someone and it's like new, they should be excited by it. So I went on a few dates with this guy recently. I also didn't know if these were dates or not, and I had to fully ask, and he was like, Phoebe, they're dates, and I was like, cool. I had to, you know, message him quite a bit. He was never really kind of I just don't want to have to message someone and it take 2 working days to get an answer. I just don't think that's appropriate. And the first few dates have gone quite well. He had been late to every date we've been on, which I don't know, it just annoys me a little bit. Like, some people I guess are just naturally late, but I just don't really want someone that's naturally late. And also I currently live with my parents as well, so like if people come and pick me up, they just kind of text me and they're like, outside, and I'm like, I want someone that's going to be able to come to the door and knock on the door and be like, hi, because it's going to be me at the door. I'm not going to let my parents answer the door, but have faith in me that I'm going to do that. So that's kind of a thing. And then in the 4th time, basically the 4th date that we had was like the final kind of like red line for me. I'm just going to adjust the lighting. It's not even 4 PM and the lighting's gone to like crap. So like I said, we met up for the 4th time and he was late picking me up, and we got to the cinema and stuff quite late, and then we kind of proceeded to chat a little bit. It was a little bit different to previous times that we met up. Like, our conversation was just not flowing, and it had always been like, that was kind of one of the things that drew me to him. We were able to talk about so many different things, and it was really, really like fun and interesting and nice. And then this date, he was literally like sat on his phone during a film at the cinema, may I just add, because I just don't think people should do that in cinemas. There's a reason they ask you to turn your phone off, so it doesn't go off first off, but also just don't be on your phone in a cinema. Why do that? If you're not enjoying the film, just say. It really aggravates me. This is a general thing that just doesn't apply to dating, but it's annoying. So he was sat there on his phone during the date, messaging his mates, and I was like, you take like 2 days to reply to me sometimes. Mostly 1 day, which is quite a bit, but like, he just wasn't that excited, I felt like, to like see me. It felt like, especially this time we met up, was a bit of a drag, and I was like, you know what, no, I'm done. I am a fun, interesting person, I'm nice, I've made an effort each time we've met up, and I've always like made sure I'm looking nice. He wore the same thing every time we met up, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a wardrobe that's that limited. And I was just like, you know what, I want someone that's going to make a bit more of an effort with me, and I think that's something that we should all accept. Like, I think sometimes when you're single and maybe you don't get masses of attention, which is the boat I'm kind of in, sometimes we accept the love we think we deserve, but not exactly the love, because we weren't in love, but I feel like you accept a lot less than you actually deserve as a person. You accept kind of someone not being as forthcoming, you accept someone not really being as excited or putting in as much effort as you, and I just genuinely think in the land of dating, especially when you're first dating someone and getting to know someone, it should be fun and exciting, and if it's not fun and it's not exciting, then get rid. Even if you really like the person, you find them really attractive, I just honestly think you deserve better. And that's a lesson that I learned, and I think it's really important to learn, or to also just know. So for me, that's one of my like top tips, is to remember how much you deserve when you kind of go into stuff like this. Because not that he was a bad guy at all, he just clearly wasn't that excited by me, which is fine, because, you know, not everyone's for everyone. I also, you know, I realised after the final kind of time we met up that it wasn't for me either, and we just haven't spoken since. So it was clearly a mutual thing, but I just think recognise that for yourself, because if you're constantly putting yourself out there and not getting enough back, move on. Like, you deserve a lot more. You deserve a lot more. Tip number 3 is to have an activity planned. Now, I went on a date with someone a long time ago and we didn't have anything planned, and we just roamed around town aimlessly, and it was quite awkward, and it was just a bit, yeah, it was just awkward and uncomfortable, and neither of us knew what we wanted to do. We hadn't even planned to go for food or anything. So I think if you are going to go on a date with someone, specifically a first date, maybe have a fun activity planned, especially like an icebreaker or something. There's a lot more things to do now, I feel like, than just food, like a typical like dinner and cinema date, which you can definitely do, but I feel like there's so many more options nowadays. Like, you can, there are escape rooms, which is probably quite a pricey one to do, but you've got like crazy golf, you've also got like bowling is coming back in and it's starting to be cool again. You can also just go for drinks, or maybe go to like a really cool bar where you get to kind of like mix your drinks together. There's loads of really cool things, especially in London, I feel like, that do that, but there are also things within like Leicester where I live that you can do stuff like that. So I feel like planning a more fun activity, or even going to see a play or going to do something at the theatre as well, could be a really cool thing to do, depending on what you, well, obviously what you and the person you're going to go on a date with is into. But I do think having an activity or something planned just makes life so much better, and it makes you guys relax a little bit because you've got something else to focus on other than just each other. And I just think that is something that's quite a cool thing to remember. So they're kind of like some of my dating fails. I'm also going to enlighten you on a little fun, I thought I'd just give you a little story time at the end of the video, just kind of round it off a little bit, which is, so I went on to, this is my only Tinder experience dating, because I don't think Tinder's really the land for dating. Obviously it's kind of like for meeting up and just doing the deed and then saying goodbye. I feel like that's what it's for. But yeah, so I went on a Tinder date, and this was ages ago actually. I went on 2 with the same boy. First date, he was really nice and really chilled, we went for drinks and we really got on and seemed to have quite a bit in common. Sorry, the focus is really frustrating me because it keeps going out, so I'm very sorry for that. Then we met up for the second time round, and we went for dinner, and then we went for drinks. And when we went for dinner, he ordered a margarita pizza. Now, to some people, this is very normal, this is very fine, this is very acceptable. I just find ordering a margarita pizza very boring. I don't know if anyone else thinks this, I'm sorry if you're offended by that, but I personally want someone that I'm gonna date to have a bit more spice and a bit more about them than to just order a margarita pizza. I don't know, he just didn't seem very like worldly. Like, he didn't know what a lot of the ingredients were, he didn't know what pesto was, and that concerned me a little bit. Kind of, you know, I let these things slide even though they are really, really picky and silly things. And then we went for drinks and we chatted about lots of different things and stuff like that, and one thing that came up was him asking me, he asked me when I lost my virginity, which I don't think is a really important question to ask someone on a second date. He also asked me how many people I'd slept with, proceeded to judge me on both of my answers, even though that his answer to who he slept with was massive. It was like, I think it must 10 times, I think he'd slept with 10 times the amount of people I had, which is absolutely fine. I didn't judge him on that, so I don't think he then should have judged me on that, so that wasn't good. And then the conversation kind of started dying down, and I was like, do you want to ask me anything else? Like, I'm pretty much an open book, like I don't really mind. He was like, do you like lights? And I was like, I like the light they provide. Then proceeded to have a follow-up question to this answer, which was, what's your favourite kind of light? My favourite kind of light. I just went with fairy lights because they were hanging above, and I was like, that's a safe option, isn't it? I'll just say fairy lights. And then I kind of ended the date around that time. I was like, oh, the time, oh, we need to leave. So I then left, and told him the next day that I thought he was lovely, really nice guy. I just said that we didn't have a spark, and that was it really. And he was quite offended and quite upset by that. And then I bumped into him multiple times because he worked at the train station, and I would go into London quite a bit, and then I'd always bump into him when I was hungover. So I hope you've enjoyed my kind of dating fails and tips. I'm quite sparse on the tips is what I've realised, but it's basically a fun video for you to watch and be like, oh my gosh, wow, she went on a date with someone and then the person he was previously dating ended up spending the whole of the night with them. That's embarrassing. Secondly, she then went on dates with someone and he sat there on his phone during the film. Not good. And then went on a date with someone and they asked her if she liked lights. So one day I'll go on a date and it'll be fun and they won't ask me about lights and they won't be on the phone and their ex will not be there. So fingers crossed that happens for me. Anyway, I wish you lots of luck in your dating endeavours. I hope this has been entertaining. I love you all lots. Thank you for bearing with me with the lighting, and I shall see you very soon with a styling video. We're going to try that out.